Oh, she feels a bit, oh my God. Morning guys, welcome back to another video. Now this episode is a little bit bittersweet. I have been alluding to this over the last couple of weeks, but this is our last video here in Exmouth, which I am so sad to say goodbye. Like, I have been here for a month. Like, that is huge. I don't think I've ever sat still in one location, excluding Tasmania, for my entire travel. So if that doesn't say how much I love this area, I don't know what does. Now, I have hung around a week longer than intended just because I'm literally waiting for postage. Joys of living on the road, but like I said, I'm not even mad. So I thought in this video, we would just tackle a few of the keys places that I haven't seen so far. We are going to be starting off this morning with a little bit of fishing. So I was given a little bit of a hot tip that this spot called T-Bone Bay is apparently like the place to be. There is not a single person here, which is a little bit crazy, but the wind is up this morning, so hopefully we've got some luck out there. And then I thought we'd go for a little bit of a snorkel, go find a beautiful spot to see sunset, and then tomorrow we're booked into Bullara Station on the way out of Exmouth. So we have got a lot to do, so let's get ourselves set up, head down to the water. Fingers crossed we can catch something. I believe trevally in this area are probably what we'll be targeting. So I actually ended up moving a little bit further down. I felt like the other spot we're at, I just kept getting snagged. So I've just come down a couple hundred meters down to this other rock. So far we're having a lot better luck. So let's just hope we can catch something that's actually big enough to keep. We've got our very first fish of the day, a little bit too small, so we're gonna throw this little guy back in. We're literally on again already. Oh, she feels a bit, oh my God. We got an octopus. That is very cool. Oh, we lost it. That would have been so cool if we could have kept that, although it still looks pretty small. Can you guys spot the little turtle in the water here? I don't know if you guys can see, but we have got a stingray here, and I'm pretty sure a little shark right there. it a day. We are done with fishing, but in saying that, even just seeing the sharks and the stingrays in the water was well and truly worth my day out here anyway. I'm actually really keen to go for a swim, so we're not too far away from Turquoise Bay, which is actually the one place that is highly rated for snorkeling that we haven't actually been to. So I feel like that's going to be on our agenda for this afternoon, and then I'm thinking we might find a really cool spot for sunset. So I thought for sunset we'd actually come out to these sand dunes that are just located pretty much on the left hand side as you're exiting Cape Range. I thought this would be a perfect spot to have sunset. However, I just realized I have barely eaten anything all day, so I'm going to have a nice early dinner. I'm literally going to make some pizza because I have all the ingredients in the fridge that I have to use. So if you have not been around for long, my pizza base recipe is really simple. I don't really have time or just patience to utilize yeast and like let things sit for hours. So honestly, plain flour, yogurt, I use Greek yogurt, mix it together until you form like a dough, and it rolls out perfectly for a pizza base. And look, I literally cook this on the actual like fry pan, so I'll show you guys exactly how I do it if you haven't seen it. Now, I'm really bad for eyeballing ingredients, but honestly, like, you just want to get it to a point where like this right now is a bit too sticky, so I'm going to add in a little bit more flour, and I kind of just get to a point where it just can roll into a dough. Once again, one day I will properly measure this stuff, and maybe I'll bring you guys a cookbook with all the cool little things that I do on the road anyway. Now, you can make this as thin or as thick as you want. Normally I actually separate that into two bases, but I'm kind of feeling like a bit of a thicker base today, so I'm going to give it a try on the thicker side, and I'll let you guys know how it goes, whether it actually cooks through properly on the fry pan. I would love to give this a go also on the camp oven, so I feel like as soon as I can get access to an area that we can have campfires, like, that's going to be on my list of things to try. I actually find that just putting the base into the fry pan works better, and then topping it all on, and then I just pop the lid on top. This will actually be the first time I have made these pizzas on a stainless steel pan. I probably switched over a couple of months ago, and like, I've definitely loved it, but I find the pan gets so hot, especially on the gas stove. I find it's a little bit harder to actually manage the temperatures, so we're just going to let that cool down, and then I'm going to chuck the base on it just so that we don't burn it. We kind of want it to create a little bit more of a camp oven vibe rather than like just cooking from the bottom up. I'm thinking that is about as good as it's going to get without that bottom burning, although it actually doesn't look that bad at all. I feel like a camp oven would be a lot better with crisping up the cheese on top, but cannot go wrong. And of course, we're not going to have pizza without having wine. These bottles, I actually was sent 6 of them. Now, I have opened it, I have tested it before I even tell you guys about this, but it's from Little Ripple. So they sent me a combination of their red wines and their white wines. The reason I really love this idea is that for every bottle sold, they actually donate one person with clean water for an entire year, which is so cool. So it's all done within developing communities. So I thought that was such a nice little touch, and like I said, tastes pretty good as well. So this will definitely be something I will continue to purchase. But if you guys are wine drinkers, definitely check them out. I don't know if you guys can see at the bottom of the pizza, but it is definitely a little bit burnt. It doesn't change the flavor in my opinion. It still tastes incredible. And the base itself is thicker than I would normally do it, but it's still not super thick. So I think I actually prefer like this density of pizza base. But yeah, you guys let me know what you guys think if you give it a try. Now, I couldn't leave Exmouth without showing you guys probably the best sunrise spot here. I am going to make some coffee. We are super early, but already the views are insane. So since we're ticking off canyons, I thought I'd bring you guys out to the Shothole Canyon. Now, this is a lot different to the Charles Knife Canyon where you effectively drive up to the peaks of the canyon. This one you're actually driving into the canyon itself. So it's like a 12-kilometer unsealed road, but the views the entire way through driving through this are incredible. You can definitely tell there has obviously been a little bit of fire devastation through here, but it definitely doesn't take away from the grandness. Now, we are, I'm going to say 80% of the way through. We're going to make our way right to the very end. I think there's like a little walk that we can take once we get there as well. even with the main lookout closed, it is still such a worthwhile drive out here and a walk up to that little peak as well. But we are officially wrapping up Exmouth here, so I'm going to start making my way over to Bullara Station. It is about an hour's drive, and then of course we continue tracking up north. So even though I've loved my time here in Exmouth, I know that we have got some pretty cool things ahead of us, but we can check in nice and early. So Bullara Station allow you to check in at 11, so it should work out perfect timing. So I made it out to Bullara Station. I have checked in literally as soon as you drive through the gate. This place has got so much character. It's like a working cattle farm, so there's plenty to see. I thought I'd kick it off by doing one of the couple of walks on the property. So because it is actually a working cattle farm, you can pretty much spot all of their animals all over the property, which is pretty cool. So hopefully we can spot a couple there. And then yeah, this afternoon we're just going to be chilling out. There is probably the most Instagrammable part of Bullara Station is the lava showers, so we'll definitely be checking those out later as well. So I'm going to be hitting the road nice and early this morning. As I mentioned, we are heading up north into the Pilbara, which I am so excited for what's to come. But before you do leave Bullara Station, the coffee and scones are an absolute must. Although, here's a debate. Do you call it a scone or a scone? I feel like scone sounds a little bit more fancy, but I feel like in Australia we all call it scone. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yes, I'm going to wrap up this video here. I have honestly loved my time here in Exmouth. I feel like this is something I'm going to harp on about for literally the rest of my life. So the minute I can get back here and explore even more, I will be stoked. But as I said, we've got so much more to explore. So thank you guys for following along up until now. And I can't wait to bring you guys the next couple of videos as well.